ethyl alcohol on the body, and we have done that almost every organ and every system in the body, it is affected by the ethyl alcohol. And one of the very important aspect is that once a person who is drunk is driving, a person who is under the influence of alcohol is driving, so then there is an increased chance of having vehicular accident. Every single injury and death which is caused by drunk driving is totally preventable if nobody drinks while driving, and the pedestrian also they abstain from drinking, then these deaths and injuries they are not going to happen. Although the proportions of the crashes that are alcohol related, they have dropped dramatically in the recent decade, there are still far too many such preventable accidents. Unfortunately, in spite of great progress, alcohol impaired driving remains a serious problem, and it tragically affects many victims annually. Now, what are the various types of road traffic accident due to alcohol abuse? Motor vehicle accidents or crashes are the leading cause of death from injury, and they are the greatest single cause of all the deaths for those between the age of 1 and 34 in the United States. About half of all unintentional injuries they occur during the course of motor vehicular accidents. It has been estimated that about 7% of all the crashes and 44% of the fatal crashes they involve alcohol abuse. The risk of a fatal crash is estimated to be from 3 to 15 times higher for a drunk than from a non-drinking driver. Alcohol is more frequently present in fatal than in the non-fatal crashes. Motorcyclists are at a very great risk of death than other automobile occupants. Up to 50% of the fatally injured motorcyclists they have a blood alcohol concentration of at least more than 100 gram percent. Pedestrians killed or injured by the motor vehicles are also more likely to have been drinking than those not involved in such accidents. What does alcohol do on the driving skill? Alcohol has a profound effect on the driving skills because of its depressant action. Drivers can misjudge their capabilities under the influence of the effect of alcohol, which affect their driving. These things are, first of all, lengthening of the reaction time. Slow reflexes can decrease the ability to react swiftly to the situation. Vision, eye muscle functions they function more slowly. So there is incoordination in the muscles of the eye. Eye movement and the perceptions are altered, possibly resulting in the blurred vision. Night vision and color perceptions are also impaired. Tracking, the ability to judge the car's position on the road, the location of the other vehicles, central line, road signs, etc., can be severely affected. Concentration, attention to the driving may decrease or drowsiness may occur. Comprehension, the depressant action of the alcohol hinders the ability to make rational decision. Coordination is very much affected. The mechanism of driving can be affected by reduced eye, hand, and foot coordination. What are the various signs of drunk drivers? These signs may be a bit different in Pakistan and in America. If you observe a drunk driver, do not attempt to approach him or her with your vehicle. Instead, call the police. Drunk drivers are risking their own lives and the lives of the other. Signs of a drunk driver they include the inability to stay within the lane, zigzagging कर रहे होते हैं. Then either they are driving too fast or they are driving too slow. Then they take wide turns, and then sometimes they abruptly slow up and then they speed up. Then driving too close behind another vehicle, not maintaining the distance. And then sometimes they just stop their vehicle at the side without having any consideration about the traffic which may be coming from the back. Sometimes what happens that the vehicle is being driven without turning on the headlights. So this is a slide which shows that a drunk driver who is coming on a closed road from the wrong side has rammed into the motorcyclist who are having a sports. So you can imagine the amount of trauma, the fatalities and the injuries. Another slide where there is collisions of the vehicles, loss of property and injuries to the occupants. And in most of the cases, the reason is alcoholic intake. The person is driving while under the influence of alcohol. What are the various preventive measures? Alcohol and automobiles are a deadly mix. Several measures have been adopted to prevent such tragedies, but the number still remains high. Preventive measures include, first of all, increasing the age of alcohol purchase and consumption to 21 years nationwide. This is for America, not for Pakistan, because in Pakistan, the sale of alcohol it is not permissible. Neither it should be consumed. So it is not applicable to Pakistan. In America also, they have raised the age to 21 years from 18, but even then, the people they can get alcohol from everywhere and they drink it. Lowering the legal blood alcohol concentration level. Now, this blood alcohol concentration level, it was first fixed at the level of 120, then 100, then 80. So if this blood alcohol level in the law it is lowered, like in UK it is 80 milligram and in France it is 50 milligram. So this is very effective because the person who has got a lower blood alcohol concentration will not be drunk. Then random checks at the roadside. That is, the traffic police may apprehend any person and may have a sobriety check from the breath analyzer, and any person who is found driving under the influence of alcohol may be apprehended. Then awareness programs such as designated driver initiative. Even awareness programs, they are given on the television, on the radio, in the print media. Then revoking the driver's license of the violators. If a person has been found driving under the influence of alcohol, then his driving license may be taken. And safety measures or safety equipment in the vehicle should be improved, like there should be seat belts present, the proper seat belts, three-pronged, and airbags should be present at appropriate sites within the vehicle so that the trauma to the occupants may be less, but the trauma to the pedestrian it would remain. Educational programs for the drunk drivers about alcohol and its hazard. So if a person has been apprehended for drunk driving, then before he is allowed to come to the road again, he should have a compulsory education program where he will be given awareness about the drunk driving. Public service preventive messages from the television, billboards, radio, etc. And in the school-based program to educate about alcohol and to teach the refusal skills. Now the treatment of alcoholism. Now in alcohol there are at least three situations. It's not a very simple thing. Alcoholism is a term with multiple and sometimes conflicting definitions. In common and historic use, alcoholism refers to any condition that results in the continued consumption of alcoholic beverages despite health problems and negative social consequences. The medical definition in the Journal of American Medical Association defines alcoholism as a primary chronic disease characterized by impaired control over drinking, preoccupation with the drug, alcohol, use of alcohol despite adverse consequences and distortions in the thinking. Multiple tools are available to those wishing to conduct screening for alcoholism. Because if you take the history, you may not be getting the proper answer. Identification of alcoholism may be difficult because there is no detectable physiological differences between a person who drinks frequently and a person with the alcoholic condition, the chronic alcohol. So we can give a questionnaire which has got 4 questions, and if the answer is yes to 2 of the questions, it indicates that the respondent should be investigated further. Questionnaire asks the following question: do you ever felt you needed to cut down on your drinking? How have people annoyed you by criticizing your drinking? Have you ever felt guilty about drinking? Have you ever felt that you need a drink first thing in the morning to steady your nerves or to get rid of a hangover? There are other tests also. There is another thing which is known as genetic predisposing testing. Alcoholism does not have a single cause. It may have genetic reasons, but the genes do play an important role by affecting the parts of the body and the brain that interact with one another and with an individual's life's experience to produce protection or susceptibility. Maladaptive alcohol use with clinically significant impairment as manifested by at least 3 of the following within 1 year span. First is tolerance, second is withdrawal, that is delirium tremens, taken in greater amount or over longer time course than the intended, that the person may think I am going to take just 1 glass but he takes 3. Similarly, if he says or she says that I'm going to drink only for 1 day or 2 days, but he or she continues for 1 week. So the greater amounts or over longer time than intended, desire or unsuccessful attempt to cut down or control the use. This is because of tolerance and withdrawal, both of them. Social, occupational or recreational activities given up or reduced just to take alcohol. The social activities, they are not being followed. Occupation, the person may be removed from the job. Recreational, nothing, but the person stays at home and drinks. So continued use despite the knowledge of physical and psychological sequelae. Now we can have the urine and blood test. These are reliable tests for the actual use of alcohol. But we cannot say that the person is habitual or chronic alcohol. One common test being that of blood alcohol concentration. These tests do not differentiate between alcoholics from non-alcoholics. However, long-term heavy drinking does have a few recognizable effects on the body. So in this, macrocytosis may be present in the peripheral blood smear. So the MCV value will be enlarged. Elevated glucose tolerance test, moderate elevation of AST and ALT, that is the liver hepatocytes hormone, SGAT or SGPT, and an AST-ALT ratio of 2 into 1. This indicates hepatocellular damage. High carbohydrate deficient transferrin. However, none of these blood tests for biological markers are as sensitive as screening questionnaire. They can tell us that the person has been drinking or that he has been drinking for a long time. But whether he is suffering from that alcoholic condition or not, that is not possible. Now, the effect of long-term alcohol misuse are physical health effects and mental health effects. The physical health effects associated with alcohol consumption may include cirrhosis of the liver, which almost everybody knows, pancreatitis, which may be a major cause of death, epilepsy. Epilepsy may be because of the minor trauma to the brain due to repeated fall and scarring, and then it may be shown in the form of epilepsy. Polyneuropathy, alcoholic dementia, heart disease because of alcoholic myocarditis or cardiomyopathy, increased chance of cancer, This may be the hepatic cancer or this may be gastric cancer. Nutritional deficiency, and the most common is vitamin B1. Sexual dysfunction, death from many sources. Alcohol may cause death of the person itself, but it is generally associated with death in many situations. Like the person may be driving and then may meet an accident and die, or the person may be drinking alcohol, may drown, or may cause burning, or may become violent and may commit suicide or homicide either with a gun or with a knife. So, death from many sources. Severe cognitive problems are not uncommon in alcoholics. The mental health effects, they are also very pronounced. Alcohol misuse is not only toxic to the body but also to the brain function, and thus psychological well-being can be adversely affected by the long-term effect of alcohol misuse. Psychiatric problems are common in the alcoholics, especially anxiety and depression disorders. As much as 25% of the alcoholics, they present with severe psychiatric disturbance. Typically, these psychiatric symptoms caused by the alcohol misuse initially worsen during the alcohol withdrawal, but with the abstinence, these psychiatric problems gradually improve or disappear altogether. Then there may be psychosis, confusion, and organic brain syndrome, which may be induced by the chronic alcohol abuse, which can lead to misdiagnosis of the major mental health disorders such as schizophrenia. So it is actually not schizophrenia, but it is alcoholic psychosis. Panic disorder can develop in patient taking long-term alcoholic misuse. Panic disorder can also worsen और occur as a part of alcoholic withdrawal syndrome. Delirium tremens का एक हिस्सा होता है. Chronic alcohol misuse can cause panic disorder to develop or worsen an underlying panic disorder via distortion of the neurochemical system in the brain. In the social effects, being drunk or hungover during the work or can result in loss of the employment, which can lead to financial problems, including the loss of living quarters. So, if the person is found drunk all the time, or if he is experiencing a hangover during the working hour, and he may be removed from the job. And if he is removed from the job and he does not have any money, so there will be financial problems. He may not be able to pay the rent on the house, and he may be expelled from the house. Drinking at inappropriate times and behavior caused by the reduced judgment can lead to legal consequences such as criminal charges for drunk driving or public disorder, or civil penalties for tortious behavior. Like I give you an example that suppose if the person is drinking at inappropriate time, and the person being a doctor, after taking the alcohol, is that doctor is engaged in the medical duties, he is administering anesthesia, or he is performing surgery, or he is delivering a baby, or he is treating any person. So what happens? The patient comes to harm or may die, so there may be legal consequences. So these can lead to legal consequences. Alcoholics' behavior and mental impairment while drunk can profoundly impact surrounding family and the friends, possibly leading to marital conflict and divorce or contributing to domestic violence. So these people, they also become violent. So they batter their wives and they batter their children. Now, alcohol withdrawal. Alcohol withdrawal is something which is very true, and it is quite a difficult situation. And most of the cases, it is known as delirium tremens. Alcohol's primary effect is increase the stimulation of the GABA receptor, promoting the central nervous depression with repeated heavy consumption of alcohol. These receptors are desensitized and reduced in number, resulting in tolerance. So when the person takes alcohol and keeps on taking the alcohol, he develops tolerance. There is enzyme induction in the liver, and the metabolism of the drug it is enhanced, and then also there is desensitization of the receptors, so to have the same effect as the person has from the first dose, he has to increase the dose. And there is also a physical dependence. The person knows that if he is not going to take the next dose, he will be suffering from withdrawal signs. Thus, when the alcohol is stopped, especially abruptly, the person's nervous system suffers from uncontrolled synapse firing. This can result in symptoms that include anxiety, life-threatening seizures, convulsions, delirium tremens, hallucinations, shakes. Shakes are like rigidity and tremors, and possible heart failure because it has got a very profound effect on the myocardium. Acute withdrawal symptoms tend to subside after 1 to 3 weeks. If a person has been taking alcohol for a long time and then he stops taking alcohol, then he may suffer or he may continue to have these symptoms up to 1 to 3 weeks, but gradually these effects they become less and they may subside. Less severe symptoms like insomnia and anxiety may continue as a part of post withdrawal symptom, gradually improving with the abstinence for 1 year or more. So, certain less severe signs they may persist, and if the person abstains from alcohol for a longer time, maybe in years, then they may subside or they may become less. Withdrawal symptoms begin to subside as the body and central nervous system take adaptation to reverse the tolerance and restore GABA function towards normal. Other neurotransmitter systems are also involved, especially glutamate and NMDA. Now, the treatment of chronic alcoholism, there are three situations actually. One is acute alcoholic overdose. Its treatment is entirely different. Then there is a treatment of chronic alcoholism, and there is a treatment of delirium tremens. Now, the most treatment focus on helping people discontinue their alcoholic intake, followed up with life training and social support in order to help them resist a return to the alcohol use. Alcohol detoxification or detox for alcoholics is an abrupt stop of alcohol drinking coupled with substitution of drugs that have a similar effect to prevent alcohol withdrawal. So in this case, what happens that a person who has been taking alcohol in a great amount for say 30 years is made to stop the alcohol intake abruptly, and such people they are confined in the hospital or in the centers, and then they are also given certain medication so that the withdrawal signs they may not appear. Detoxification treats the physical effects of prolonged use of alcohol, but it does not treat the alcoholism in itself. After detox is complete, relapse is likely without further treatment. So, after this detoxification treatment, it is quite possible that the person is again going to land in the same habit again. These rehabilitations or rehabs may take place in the inpatient or outpatient department. Now, it is not that once you have done the detoxification, the person is going to remain abstinent from alcohol forever. No. He or she may go back, may relapse back into the habit. For this reason, they have to continue in the rehabilitation program. These programs may be that the person may have to be admitted to the hospital or they may be included as the outpatient. After detoxification, various forms of group therapy or psychotherapy can be used to deal with the underlying psychological issues that are related to alcohol addiction, as well as provide relapse prevention skill. Now, there is an association which is known as Alcohol Anonymous. So, when they come to know that any person is in trying to quit the habit of alcohol consumption, they go to him and they start a group therapy where every person rates his or her experience with alcoholism, the treatment and various therapies, what they have followed, and what are the various preventive skills. There are certain medications present. A variety of medications may be prescribed as a part of treatment of alcoholism. Now, this is not for acute alcohol. It is not for acute alcoholic overdose and abuse. The person is abusing alcohol. So, and abuse. The chemical name of this is disulfiram. It is a drug which actually paralyzes the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. So it prevents the elimination of acetaldehyde. The first enzyme, as you remember, the alcohol dehydrogenase, it is functioning. So it is converting the alcohol into acetaldehyde. And the second enzyme, aldehyde dehydrogenase, it is paralyzed. So the acetaldehyde, it is accumulated in the body and it cannot be metabolized into the acetic acid. So disulfiram prevents the elimination of acetaldehyde, a chemical the body produces when breaking down the alcohol. Acetaldehyde itself is a cause of many hangover symptoms from alcohol use. Acetaldehyde is a toxic substance. When we compare it with ethyl alcohol, acetaldehyde is more toxic. And many of the symptoms from chronic alcohol use, they are due to acetaldehyde. So the overall effect of severe discomfort when alcohol is ingested and extremely fast acting and long lasting uncomfortable hangover. Now what happens that this discourages an alcoholic from drinking in significant amounts while they take the medicine. Now suppose uh, a person realizes either himself or through the advice of another person that now it's high time that you should quit drinking. So he goes to a doctor and gives a history about his problem. The doctor prescribes antabuse or disulfiram to this person, and that person takes the dose of disulfiram daily. So say after about 1 month, 6 weeks, one day he comes to the urge to drink. Now what happens that his enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase is knocked out and his body cannot get rid of acetaldehyde. So acetaldehyde, it accumulates in the body and a very fast acting and very long lasting uncomfortable hangover it results. There is throbbing headache, there is flushing of the face, there is vomiting present. So he thinks that what has happened, the alcohol which was so pleasant has now become very unpleasant. So he say, I'm not going to drink it. So in this manner, another 2 months they pass. And then third month, again due to certain reasons, he say, okay, I'm going to drink 1 glass. Again, when he takes 1 glass of alcohol, again the same fast acting and long lasting uncomfortable hangover results. So with 2 or 3 such experiences, the person becomes conditioned and he associates this uncomfortable hangover with taking of alcohol, and he says, oh, whenever I take alcohol I have got this unpleasant thing, I'm not going to take it. So there is another medicine which is naltrexone. Now naltrexone is a competitive antagonist for opioid receptors. It is a partial antagonist, so it has got certain effects similar to opium and some which are different. So it effectively blocks our ability to use endorphins and opiates. Alcohol releases endorphins, hence when the naltrexone is in the body, drinkers no longer get any pleasure from consuming alcohol. Naltrexone is used in 2 very different forms of treatment. The first treatment uses naltrexone to decrease craving for alcohol and to encourage the abstinence. Nowadays, naltrexone is not used as an antagonist. It is actually for the treatment of chronic poisoning. The other treatment, which is called pharmacological extinction, combines naltrexone with normal drinking habit in order to reverse the endorphin conditioning that causes alcohol addiction. This results in a reduced desire to drink that persists as naltrexone use is discontinued. Patient always takes naltrexone before drinking. Naltrexone comes in two forms: oral. It is a pill that must be taken 1 hour before drinking to be effective. And Vivitrol is a time release formulation that is injected in the buttocks once a month. Then there is another medicine. You have been taught this in pharmacology also. So there is another other medicine, acamprosate, also known as Campral. It is thought to stabilize the chemical balance of the brain that would otherwise be disrupted by alcoholism. Its mechanism of action is not fully understood. Campral is thought to act on the brain pathways related to alcohol abuse. Campral proved superior to placebo in maintaining abstinence for a short period of time. There are other medicines also which can be used, but mostly it is either diazepam or naltrexone. Now, what is the role? Everybody knows the role of alcohol in the road traffic accidents. What is the role of alcohol in the environmental accident? Chronic alcohol intake deteriorates the body mass and speeds up the process of death. Alcohol intake increases accidental death due to burning. Person who is drunk may be lighting a match and may cause burns. So death due to burning is more common. Death due to electrocution is very common. Drowning is also very common. And also the bathroom deaths. A person who is drunk may die in the bathroom. The brain damage, it is very, very real. In individual who sustain head injury with subdural or epidural hemorrhage and who survive for days, peripheral blood may become negative for alcohol, but the analysis of the blood present in the clot, the blood which has formed the clot, it may reveal the initial blood alcohol level at the time of injury. The prenatal alcohol exposure, it causes brain damage also. You can see the brain of a normal baby who is 6 weeks old, and on the right side the brain of a baby who is 6 years old with fetal alcohol syndrome. The size is less and the surface also is smooth. The convolutions are not present, so there is injury to the higher centers present. The gray matter, they are shrunk. Similarly, in this we can see the image of the brain and the activity. The image on the top is that of a normal person, a 15 years old non-drinking brain top, and the lower one is the brain of a drinkers. So you can see that the non-drinking person's brain is much more active, whereas there is depression of the function of the brain in the drunk. Next we come to methyl alcohol poisoning. Methyl alcohol is something which is different from ethyl alcohol. It is also known as denatured alcohol. Here it is written that it is a poison to be used for mechanical and burning purpose only, must not be used internally. It should not be consumed. Methyl alcohol has got many other names like methanol. Most of the time it is known as methanol. Wood alcohol because it is obtained from the wood spirit, wood naphtha. carbinol, colonial spirit, Colombian spirit, pyroxylic spirit. The characteristics of methyl alcohol is that it is a colorless and inflammable volatile liquid with a faint spirit-like odor and a burning nauseous taste. It is obtained from distillation of the wood. You may remember that ethyl alcohol is obtained from fermentation of the sugar and the carbohydrates. It is from the distillation of the wood, that's why it is known as wood alcohol or wood spirit. It is used extensively in various trades as solvent. It is mixed with ethyl alcohol to make it unfit for the human use. It, that spirit is known either as denatured spirit or methylated spirit. Methylated spirit is a spirit where 95% of ethyl alcohol and 5% of methyl alcohol is present. Hand sensitizers, hand sanitizers, they also contain this. It can be used as a fuel. Denatured alcohol is used in gel electrophoresis. It is used in the gas lines as an antifreeze. It is used as a solvent for removing of the paint. In varnish also it is used. Denitrifying agent it is used. It is used in the formation of biodiesels. Biodiesel is mostly ethyl alcohol, but methyl alcohol also may be present. Now, methanol poisoning, it is quite common. Excessive intake of methyl alcohol into the body in a short period of time. How come it happens? It may be through the inhalation, it may be through ingestion or through the skin absorption. But ingestion is the most common. Now, in the body, its metabolism is almost the same as ethyl alcohol. When it is drunk, it is absorbed through the stomach and intestine and it goes to the liver. The same enzyme they act upon it, and the alcohol dehydrogenase converts it into formaldehyde, and then the aldehyde dehydrogenase converts it into formic acid, and this formic acid it remains as such. It does not enter into the metabolism as such. It remains and it causes damage to many tissues and organs, particularly where the water content is more. So in ethyl alcohol it was acetaldehyde, here it is formaldehyde. In ethyl alcohol it was acetic acid, and here it is formic acid. So it leads to accumulation of formic acid and severe acidosis, metabolic acidosis. The metabolic products of methyl alcohol, they are much more toxic than the patent compound of methyl alcohol. So accumulation of formic acid results into the metabolic acidosis. Then it is excreted very slowly. As compared to ethyl alcohol, its excretion is slow and it accumulates in the body. So there is cumulative action. The fatal dose is small. A person may be killed by a dose of 60 to 240 mils. Fatal period may be 3 to 4 days or even less. The sign and symptoms. It is acute. It is not chronic. It is acute. Within 12 to 24 hours after the injection, the patient shows slow, irregular respiration. The effect may be on the brain and on the respiratory center. There may be a state of stupor, confusion, disorientation, headache, neck stiffness, vertigo, sudden seizure, or coma. In the eye, first there is mydriasis present, there is blood vision present, there is optic neuritis present, photophobia, retinal edema, and blindness. Blindness may be the first sign. The person may come screaming, "Look, doctor, I cannot see." I told you that The formic acid, it accumulates in the tissues where there is a lot of water contents, and the eyes is the first tissue where there is aqueous humor present, where there is vitreous humor present. So formic acid, which is present in higher concentration in the eye, it may lead to optic neuritis and blindness. The skin becomes ghastly pale and blue tinged because of the depression of the CVS and the respiratory center. Shivering and hypothermia is present because of the CNS depression. Unconsciousness and coma may be present. Its poisoning is much more severe and lethal. The metabolism is the same as ethyl alcohol. After ingestion, methyl alcohol is absorbed from the stomach and intestine. It is taken to the liver where it is metabolized by the same enzymes as for ethyl alcohol, but only about 30% of absorbed poison is metabolized. In opposite to ethyl alcohol, which is metabolized more than 90%. The rest is excreted unchanged from the kidneys and the lungs. That's why its excretion is less and it is slow and cumulative action may be present. Another thing is when it is being excreted through the urine, and urine is what water, so it may lead to severe trauma to the kidneys also. Thus, alcohol remains for a long time in the body. Methyl alcohol is depressant to the CNS, toxic to the eye, the kidneys, and the liver. It is a depressant, CNS depressant. It is very toxic to the eye and the kidneys and the liver, maybe in the heart also. Wherever there is water content present in the organs, during the metabolism, following reactions they take place, resulting in accumulation of toxic metabolites. Methyl alcohol, in the presence of alcohol dehydrogenase, is converted into the formaldehyde, and formaldehyde, in the presence of aldehyde dehydrogenase, is converted into formic acid. This formic acid cannot be converted into carbon dioxide and water. It accumulates in the body and it leads to severe metabolic acidosis, which is the cause of death. Now this is the enlarged photomicrograph of the eye. The pupil is midway dilated because of the injury, to the nerves, optic nerve. The person may be in coma. Now, what we can do if such a person comes to our hospital, check the CNS, respiratory and CVS function. Odor of the breath should also be checked. It is important to provide medical aid immediately in order to prevent complication from occurring. Check the level of consciousness. Take the patient to the hospital to confirm poisoning. Blood and urine test should be done. Now, unfortunately, in our country, we do not have this facility to confirm the presence of ethyl alcohol or methyl alcohol in the blood and urine. This is available only for legal purposes. The report is sent to the court and not to the doctor for the treatment purpose. Treatment is monitor the patient carefully, protect the airway to allow for regular breathing and to prevent choking, give oxygen therapy, give the person fluids through a vein to avoid dehydration. Gastric lavage should be done with 5% sodium bicarbonate because there is acidosis present. So this gastric wash or lavage should be done with 5% sodium bicarbonate within 2 to 4 hours after ingestion. We can also have the arterial blood gases. To treat acidosis, sodium bicarbonate should be given either by mouth if the person is conscious or by IV route. In severe poisoning, hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis is the treatment of choice so that the offending chemical and its toxic metabolites may be removed from the body rapidly. Supportive measures should be employed. The patient should be protected from strong light because of the injury to the eye. Hypothermia should also be corrected. Now there is an antidote present. The antidote is, first of all, ethanol. Ethanol is an antidote for methanol since it blocks the formation of formaldehyde and formic acid because of its affinity for alcohol dehydrogenase. Now, if the body has ethyl alcohol as well as methyl alcohol. The enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase is going to prefer the ethyl alcohol. That's why if we provide ethyl alcohol to the patient, the liver enzymes, they will be busy in metabolizing ethyl alcohol, and the methyl alcohol will be left as such without being converted into formaldehyde and formic acids, and methyl alcohol will be removed from the body, eliminated from the body as such. So because here the toxic metabolites are causing so much damage to the tissues, that's why if we block the metabolism, we do not let the conversion of methyl alcohol into the toxic metabolites and the accumulation of the toxic metabolites in the body, then the person may be surviving. Another is 4-methylpyrazole, fomepizole. This inactivates the enzymes involved in alcohol metabolism, therefore avoiding the formation of toxic metabolite. So here the mechanism is almost the same. 4-methylpyrazole, it blocks alcohol dehydrogenase. Mind you, disulfiram, it blocks acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. Here it blocks pyrazole, it blocks alcohol dehydrogenase. That's why it is a drug, it is an antidote both for methyl alcohol as well as ethyl alcohol. Now, if methyl pyrazole is not present, it is not available, we can use ethanol instead, but there is a rule in toxicology that we are never to treat the poison with another poison. So if methyl pyrazole is present, we should use that. If it is not available, then we can use ethanol. There is another supportive therapy which is folinic acid. It is an activated form of folic acid. It increases the formation of metabolites, but because these metabolites are very toxic, I don't know whether this is a beneficial treatment or harmful treatment. Antizole injections may be given. Pyrazole and antizole and fomepizole. This is an approved antidote for methyl poisoning. Now, if the person dies due to ethyl alcohol poisoning, cyanosis is present. The post-mortem appearance externally is that the body is cyanosed, particularly upper parts of the body is very, cyanosis of the upper part of the body is very prominent. Blood is also dark and fluid. It is also showing that the death is due to failure of the respiratory center. Eyes may show optic atrophy and retinal edema. GIT mucosa is inflamed, lungs may reveal edema, emphysema, desquamation of the alveolar epithelium, cerebral and pulmonary edema may be seen. The medico-legal importance is that it is an accidental death. The poisoning due to methyl alcohol is an accidental. When an alcoholic is deprived of the ethanol for any reason, he or she may consume methanol containing products. It is quite common that the people who are working in the laboratory or who have gotten access to methylated spirit, they may take that instead of ethyl alcohol and they may die due to the effect of methyl alcohol. Homicidal poisoning is rare, but intentional adulteration of ethanol resulting in mass death referred to as liquor tragedies, they are very common. Now, the people who are illegally making ethyl alcohol, distilling ethyl alcohol, they may, to increase the volume of ethyl alcohol, may add methyl alcohol into it so that they may be able to earn more. So when the people, they take this adulterated drink containing methyl alcohol, then many of them, they die. It is much more poisonous than ethyl alcohol. This is the appearance of the brain in case of methyl alcohol poisoning. If the person survives for a few days, then the effect in the basal ganglia, the atrophy, and the hemorrhage in the basal ganglia may be apparent. If a person recovers, Parkinsonism after recovery from methyl alcohol poisoning may be present. Incidence of Parkinsonism has been reported with methanol poisoning in 2 people, and symptoms were mild in the first, but in the second they progressed within a week to poisoning. No visual impairment was seen. On the CT scan of both patients, putamen lesions were found. This now mass disaster, mass poisoning due to methyl alcohol poisoning. It occurs every year. It is being reported nowadays even in various parts of the country, particularly in the Punjab province. The people, they are taking hand sanitizer where denatured alcohol may be present and they are consuming it, and they may due to this methyl alcohol poisoning they may die. So there are various incidences which are reported, like Bombay accident, in which there was an outbreak occurred in the various part of the city where 47 patients were admitted in the hospital with history of methyl alcohol intake, blood alcohol concentration, carbon bicarbonate, electrolytes, blood urea, nitrogen, serum creatinine, SGOT, SGPT, serum proteins were monitored. Urine examination for alcohol and metabolites were performed. Eye examination for retinopathy. Protocol of treatment adopted was as administration of IV infusion of 7.5 sodium bicarbonate. Generally, it is 8%, followed by 2% absolute ethanol, because ethanol was being used as a antidote. 2% of absolute ethanol in dextrose, 9 gram per hour. The dose should be sufficient to keep the blood alcohol, this is ethyl alcohol, the blood ethyl alcohol concentration around 120 milligram. Other supportive therapy is corticosteroids, vitamin B1, vitamin B6, vitamin B12 were also administered. Ethyl alcohol level was found to be between 100 to 500, because many cases the ethyl alcohol is adulterated with methyl alcohol. Methyl alcohol in pure form is not ingested. It interval between the consumption and the appearance of the symptoms were on an average 8 to 60 hours. And most of the patients, they presented with visual disturbance, the sign of visual disturbances. 5 patients, they have to go for dialysis because of the kidney damage, and 2 people, they died despite treatment. The autopsy findings, they showed cerebral edema, neurological degeneration, congestion, and infiltration in and around the blood vessel. Similarly, there are incidences reported in Karachi, where in 2007, 50 people, they have died due to methanol intake. 12 people, they died of poisonous liquor during 3 days in Karachi, while 6 was admitted in the hospital. And according to the doctor's reports, their condition was critical. They may also become physically handicapped with the loss of vision. Similarly, death of 7 people in Yari has been reported. These these incidences, they keep on happening. They keep on happening nowadays also. There has been reports in the print media that many people, they have died due to consumption of adulterated ethyl alcohol, and most of the cases the adulteration is with methyl alcohol. There are certain safety measures. It is to prevent inhalation or contamination of the skin and clothes. Always wear safety glasses to protect the eyes. Remove any source of ignition from the working area, because it may catch on fire. A hot air gun, a hot plate, or even a radiator may be sufficiently hot to ignite the vapors of volatile alcohol. Do not breathe the vapors. Use a fume cupboard if available. If it is not possible, ensure that the area in which you are working is very well ventilated.
If there is an emergency and there has been an eye contact, immediately flush the eye with plenty of water, continue for several minutes and call for medical help. Whenever there is anything present in the eyes they should be thoroughly washed at least for 25 to 30 minutes. If there is a skin contact, the person whose clothes are soaked in methanol will be at a serious risk from fire. So anytime he can catch fire. So immediately remove any contaminated clothing and store well away from a source of ignition, preferably outside the room. And wash exposed skin with soap and water because it can be absorbed through the skin, intact skin also. Disposal smaller amount of methanol can be flushed down the sink with a large quantity of water unless the local rules prohibit. So in such case, these amounts should be collected in a non-chlorinated waste solvent container for disposal. And the protective equipment are the safety glass and the gloves. The gloves should be butyl rubber. So there are two dangers. One is that is it is highly inflammable, and second is that it is poisonous. Now we next come to the other, that is the sedative and the hypnotics. And the most important, or used to be the most important, is the barbiturates, the sleeping tablets. There are many types of sleeping tablets. Some are in the form of capsule, some are in the form of tablets, but their common action is that they have got a depressive action on the CNS. Barbiturates are the drug that act as central nervous system depressant. They are also effective as anxiolytic, hypnotic, and anticonvulsants. Now, barbiturates, with their use, it has been found that these are dangerous drugs. So their use has largely been replaced by benzodiazepine, which have got the same actions, but they are not as toxic. Barbiturates are derivative of barbituric acid. The barbiturates are further classified according to the speed of the onset and duration of their action. So after taking a therapeutic dose, what time is required for the actions to start and for how long these actions they persist. This is the basis of classification. वालेकुम अस्सलाम. हो गया चलें ठीक. Okay, inshallah we'll continue next time.